wrong. Kill them wherever they confront you in combat, and drive them out of the places from which they have driven you. Creating mischief is worse than killing. Do not fight them within the precincts of Al-Masjid al-Haram unless they attack you there. Meaning, if they attack you in Al-Masjid al-Haram, you don't attack first, but if they attack you, then you can fight back. But if they attack you, put them to the sword. That is the punishment for such unbelievers. If they cease hostility, then surely Allah is forgiving and merciful. Fight against them until there is no more disorder and Allah's supremacy is established. If they desist, then let there be no hostility except against the oppressors. The sacred month in which fasting is prohibited is to be respected if the same is respected by the enemy. Sacred things too are subject to retaliation. Therefore, if anyone transgresses a prohibition and attacks you, retaliate with the same force. Fear Allah and bear in mind that Allah is with the righteous. Allah is with the righteous, meaning those who stay within the limits of Allah, even when it comes to fighting, they are the ones who Allah will support. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, and give generously for the cause of Allah. And do not cast yourselves into destruction by your own hands. وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And be charitable. Allah loves those who are charitable, meaning give even more. Here specifically Allah talks about giving generously for the cause of Allah, meaning for the deen of Allah, for Islam. What does this mean, giving for the deen of Allah? To make sure that the deen of Allah is preserved and that it is also preserved for next generations, that it's preserved now and for the generations to come, and that it is conveyed to the people as well. So for the preservation and the conveyance of the deen, you need to spend. Does that make sense? Does it seem fair to say this? Allah asks us to spend. If you look around in civil society, what has been established? It is established that you pay your taxes, and those taxes go towards what? They go towards the establishment of hospitals, they go towards the establishment of schools, to fixing the roads, to making sure that rubbish is collected, garbage is collected and taken away. All of the things that make life livable are because of the taxes that are taken from people. And we accept that. We accept that we give our taxes and it makes our own lives, our own society and community better to live in. In the same way, some of our wealth should also be going towards the deen, to the establishment of institutions or ways in which the deen can be preserved. What will happen if that is not the case? Imagine people said, we're not building hospitals anymore. That's it. We don't need to make any more hospitals. Would that not cause an outcry? How can you do that? Everybody needs treatment. We need doctors. In the same way, we need to spend in the way of Allah so that the deen is also preserved. And the next generations, they also receive the message of the deen. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ, and complete the Hajj and the Umrah for the sake of Allah. If you are prevented from proceeding, then send such offering for sacrifice as you can afford, and do not shave your head until the offerings have reached their destination. But if any of you is ill or has an ailment in his scalp, he must pay ransom either by fasting or feeding the poor or offering a sacrifice. If in peacetime anyone wants to take the advantage of performing Umrah and Hajj together, he should make an offering which he can afford. But if he cannot afford it, he should fast 3 days during the Hajj and 7 days on his return, making 10 days in all. This order is for the one whose household is not in the precincts of Al-Masjid al-Haram. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And fear Allah and know that Allah is strict in retribution. This verse talks about the rituals of Hajj, and you can find detail regarding the rituals of Hajj elsewhere.